Hello everybody, it's Dragana from Saacibo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm not showing you the journals, I'm showing you little charms that I like to put on my journals. How gorgeous are they? Have a look at this one. Red rose. Here we have a yellow rose. Here there's this cute little butterfly one. Over here I put this one, it says create. This is what they look like on the back. And here we have one that says hope. Aren't they really gorgeous? And most of all, they're made from almost 100% recycled materials, apart from those sentiments here and the bulb pins. But the actual cardstock is just packaging. And if you'd like to see how I make them and maybe make some yourself, keep watching, the tutorial is coming up. Okay. Before we start, I need to show you what tools and materials you need to make those charms. So we'll start with the most obvious, and you will need something to cut the shapes. You can use punches. I only have a round 1-inch punch, or you can use some small die cut shapes, like little tags like this, some round or oval shapes, heart shapes, square shapes, whatever you think might look good as a charm. So if you don't have punches or die cuts, use your scissors or perhaps a retractable knife and just cut some squares. Then you'll need something to punch a hole through the top, like this. If your die cut shape doesn't already make a hole, if it's like this, you'll need something to make a hole in it later on. If you don't have a hole puncher like that, or crocodile, something like that, you can just use one of those pokey tools. You will need some glue, some reliable glue, like art glitter glue, or something stronger. You don't want your charm to fall apart eventually. You know, I'm using Magic Fix. It dries quickly. It's a white glue, but it's very good. Then you will need some finger wax in different colors, or some ink. And I'd suggest use permanent ink, something that won't activate when you add varnish on top. Use StazOn ink if you have. I don't, I just use this one. You will need some water-based acrylic gloss varnish. I like to use gloss. You can use matte, whatever, but just gloss gives me that vintagey look. I really like it. You'll need a brush to apply the varnish, and you'll need something like this, like pins or maybe even toothpicks. Something that when you varnish these, you can actually I leave them like this, you know, because they'll need to dry. Okay. And also, if you want to distress a little bit, because you can see this surface now is very shiny, if you want to make it more distressed, you'll need something to sand it with, either something like this or a sanding block. Let's see what else. You'll need some packaging. I used this. I left it just to show you, because I'm not going to be doing the cutting in front of the camera, but I cut out the shapes from this. This was probably a face moisturizer. This is just a scented candle that was packed inside of this, and I thought it was very cool. And I also used this one. I think someone gifted me a rose to plant in my garden, and I kept it because it held some really interesting images. To finish off your project, you'll need some of the bulb pins or jump rings, whatever you have and whatever it's easy for you to install. And then if you decide to decorate a little bit more, just get some either words or sentiments that are printables, or something from a book or a magazine that you can cut out. I love to use words from the books in the past, but you know, finding the right word, you have to read through the page and then cut it out. It takes a lot of time, and I don't want this video to go forever, so I just found some words that I already had, and I'm going to use those. To create these little charms, you'll need any shape that you decide to do, you need 4 of them cut exactly the same. And I cut the back usually just plain color. In this case it's kind of like a silver color, and you cut the front bit with some images on, depending on what sort of packaging you have. I just really love this scented candle packaging, so I thought I'd make some charms with it. And then you cut 2 middle parts with anything, you know. This is probably just some, I don't even know what it is. It's some packaging, food packaging or medicine packaging, whatever. Just need 2, and you have 1 that you're going to use at the back, and you have your front piece. Okay, so I did the same for all of them. I used that one for the back, these 2, and the one that's going to be on the front. Same here, here as well. And with these ones again, I used 4 punches. I used just a circular punch to cut these out. And obviously we start by gluing these together. Okay, I glued all of these already, and while they were drying, I used the clips to hold it together, and I shouldn't have. You see how it left a mark where the clips were? Okay. Yeah, so if you decide to use the clips or something to hold it, better not. Try and find something that is flat, that can hold these layers together, rather than using clips. Okay, and you see here, I just used my fingers, kept pressing, and I just left it like that to dry, and then I didn't have that problem. But now I'm down to the last one, and I just want to show you how I put these together. I did the same for these as I'm going to do for this one. So I decide this is going to be on the inside, and this is going to be the back, and that's going to be the front. So I like to first do the front, let's do this just to make sure that the glue gets all the way to the edges, and then that everything is aligned. And I just squash a little bit. If a little bit of glue seeps through, that's fine, I can always wipe it. Okay, just like that. Okay, now I glue those 2 together. Again, I place this like that, and I just do this. It's just to spread the glue a little bit better while it's still fresh, because this dries really quickly. Okay, so now that I have those 2 together, I join them. Now, you might have trouble, because this is now shiny surface and that as well. It might take a bit longer to dry, and it might slide. You can avoid that if you decide to sand this surface, but I'm not going to. I'll just do again the same as earlier. I'm going to align them as best as I can. Squeeze all around the edges. sure it's all aligned. Just wipe off the excess. So, here are our charms. So now that I have this problem here, those three are fine. Those have these clip marks. I'm going to wait a little bit for them to dry, and then I'll just put them through my die cutting machine to try and flatten them out a little bit. Have a look at this. I put them just like that through the Big Shot without the actual die, just flat to flatten them out. And because my cutting plates are, you know, have been used a lot and they have all these marks, this actually distressed the back and the front perfectly, and I won't have to sand it. I really love it. You can see the difference. This looks nice and new, but this looks great. So I might actually put these through as well. Okay, this one wasn't dry properly, so it just actually it moved a little bit, but that's all right. The rest of them are all nice and grungy now. All right, so and you can't see those clip marks anyway. Okay, now the next part would be to decide if we want to have some words there, and let's see what I have here. Like, you can leave the back just like that plain, or we can add the words to the back. It's fine either way. And let's have a look. I have the word love. Let's get the scissors. Which way is this? So we can have it something like that. We'll just cut them and place them, and then we'll see what looks good. Time to shine, and we will leave those just without words. Let's just have the roses there as they are. Okay, so I want to add a little bit of ink around those words. I'll just use brown. This is a dried up brown ink, so I'll just do this because I don't want really to cover the whole thing. I just want a little, like a line. And like I said earlier, it's best to use permanent ink for this, because once you add varnish on top, if you don't use permanent ink, it might smudge. Okay, now with these edges, sometimes I add darker ink, sometimes I add just finger wax, and sometimes I sand off just like this. If you can see, I'm just going at an angle, because that way it will take the ink a little bit better. You can skip this part if you don't like sanding because of the dust, but it gives a nice effect. And then I go around inking like this. And It looks better already, doesn't it? Okay, let's do these ones. Hang on, I'll just sand them all first. Okay, now let's ink all of them up. I'm just using a dark brown ink here. You can use any color. I think purple would look good as well on these tags, or just black. Oh, you can also, you see how there are a lot of grooves here. Did I do this one? Doesn't seem like I did. You can do this. See how some of the ink went in where it's scratched. Okay, enough with the ink. The next step is to glue these words. Alright. If it's easier for you, you can use one of those tools like tweezers sometimes. But it's much easier than trying to do it with your fingers. Put it here. I like how it looks. Okay, let's do this one. Create a bit here. Alright, done with the glue. Now we need to punch holes in the ones that don't have a hole already. So we'll just start with this one. So this is the top of the rose, maybe. Just here. Going to eyeball it. I can't be bothered measuring, so and I want it in the middle. Good enough. This one as well. That one is easy. Oh, look what I've done. I have this like that. This should have been. Why is it too late to take it out? Oh well, it will have to stay like that. I totally forgot that needs to be checked. So this is now on the side. Never mind. Well, you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, I just want to take that dust off. Alright, so now I want to add a little bit of that finger wax, that's silver one. This is already silver. Maybe. I changed my mind. I don't want to use that one. I want to use this one. Antique gold. And this can get messy, and I don't really want to put the gloves on because then I don't know what I'm doing. I just do this step just with my hands. Okay, I'll start with these ones. I want to add some of this paste onto this because it is kind of too shiny, and with this way it looks a little bit older. Same here. And I want this over the edges like so. And I'll cover a little bit over those words as well, because that was printed on just white paper. Okay, oops. Go lightly over the text. I don't want to make it really dirty. I just want to make it look distressed, but not necessarily dirty. Okay. There. Let me just clean up my hands and I'll be back. Make sure your area is not really dust free. Okay, because we are going to add varnish now. And to do this, we have to do it in several steps, because you can't really add varnish to both sides and the edges at the same time. Okay, so get your varnish and get I like to use just acetate. I've used this one already, so I'll just add a little bit of varnish there. Get the brush that you use for glue, not the fancy one that you would use for your art, and you know, something like this, something that is going to hold it without moving. And I like to do one side first. I usually do the front. Okay, and I take a pin and let it like that, because if I find that if I put it flat down, sometimes varnish drips around and it glues the charm to the acetate. When you pull it out, it tears the paper, so it's best if you just leave it like that. Okay. It just occurred to me that perhaps if I was to add a little bit of coffee or brown ink to the varnish, I could make it look even more vintage, but I'm not going to do it now. It's just a thought. Okay, now we need to leave those to dry. Usually it takes about an hour or half an hour depending on the weather, so just so that it's touch dry, and then we'll do on the other side. Okay, I think these are touch dry on one side, so now we need to varnish on the other side. And it's basically the same procedure like before, only this time this is the side we've done. Now we do this side. Again, we add varnish. Take your brush and do this. quickly do the rest of them. And I'll be back. Okay, again we need to wait for the varnish to dry, and then we'll just have to do the edges as well. Okay, I think they're not dry, but they're touch dry, so I can actually hold them like this, but really gently, no pressing, because now we want to do these edges all around. Okay, and get yourself something like this. It's just a foam, and it will have to be set up something like this. You can see upright. Okay, so you take a little bit of varnish and you just tap. You don't really do this, you just tap. Flat with the brush. Okay, that's all. And you get your pin, put it through here and into this, so that it's, hope you can see. Another thing you can do is, if you have like a thin piece of wire, you can actually put them all on that, hang them all onto that wire, but I don't have it, couldn't find anything suitable, so I'm just doing this again, just tapping. This will also seal all these edges and prevent them from splitting open. But it also gives it really nice vintage look. Once it's dry, you can again go with the finger wax or the ink, and it will be really impossible to tell that it's actually 4 layers of cardstock. I mean, you'd know because you made it, but I've shown these to some people and they actually thought they were made out of wood. I mean, they're light, not heavy, but they have that quality about them as if they're made out of thin wood. Alright, now they're all done, and now they have to really dry. So before I do anything else to them, or the jump rings or anything like that, I would probably leave them to dry for like really well for 24 hours. You can add jump rings, or you can just use these, and I like to use those because then I can move my charms around. They're not permanently fixed to anything. So let's add some of them to a journal. Let's choose this one. This one would be a perfect fit for this journal somewhere. Perhaps even here. I think it looks cute. What about if we add this one here? I think this would look good here with this key. And let's put one here. I think this, or maybe this one. Cute, isn't it? This one would look good. Time to shine. I mean, they can be attached anywhere inside of the journal as well, or maybe like this to the ribbon here on the side, or on the spine, or in the corner somewhere. What else? maybe this one. I love this one. I think they're really cute addition to any journal. I just want to show you something that I forgot to mention at the start. If you don't have packaging that already has interesting pictures that you might want to use in your journal, you can do this by getting some images, for example, from magazines, like this part here. I thought this is really cool, so I cut out that section and I glued it onto some packaging, and I'm going to cut some of these shapes from that one. What else? Like, you know, the wrapping paper that comes in a roll, the really thin one. Also, I just glued a part of it onto some packaging and I cut out the shapes, and look at that. I think they're just gorgeous. They will make really cute charms. I had one more somewhere. Don't know where I put it. Never mind. But this is also from a magazine that I glued onto the packaging, and then I cut it with my die cuts. So, you know, it does not have to be packaging that is nice looking. It can be like pictures from magazines. You just have to glue them onto something sturdier than, because you know the magazine pages are really thin paper. Okay, and also another good thing is you can use book pages, you can use music sheets, you can use just stamped on tea-dyed paper, whatever you have. What else? Maps, you know. You can also decoupage napkins onto some packaging. You just choose the side that it's white when you add your napkin, not the side where it has printed text or commercials or whatever. Just use the white side of it, and then cut it with your die cuts or with your punches. Also, for the words, if you don't have words printed out or sentiments like that, use some book pages, you know, go through and cut out the little words. I'll just show you examples of my charms from last year, and these were made also with packaging, and I used some stamps, like, you know, sticker stamps to decorate, and I fussy cut butterflies, and I actually cut out these words from a book. This one as well, here as well, you know. These were layered with, you see, it was a square piece and then a round piece and a butterfly and a sticker on this side, another small punch cut out from, you know, glittery paper. I think this is just stamp. Here as well, stamps. Again, some more die cut shapes. The picture of a rose. I think this, yeah, this is the paper that I stamped on, and then I cut it out. And I love this one. This is a postage stamp, and I just cut out the top bit where it says the country and the price, and I just use that as a little picture. These are just some samples, you know. You can, symbol of good luck, a butterfly, or you can even have, if you have just a letter like initial. If you do a custom-made journal, you might want to, in healing others, I heal myself. I love that one. And so on. Oh, this one, I forgot about this one. I only have one left. This is actually made from old cards, your bank cards, plastic. Anyway, so you can, you know, experiment with this. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can see here it's a book page, and this is a really thin one, so it's kind of warped. It's one of the first ones I've made, but when you do like 4 layers, you get much better looking charm than this. This looks really thin. I hope you had fun today. I hope you learned something and got inspired to make some charms for your journals and put those packaging scraps to good use. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope I see you soon. Bye for now.